So what do I do during the winter months when I can't ride a motorcycle? Well, next best bet is to read about them. And let me tell you why Vana is the best motorcycle magazine ever. Vana is a magazine for motorcycle enthusiasts, die-hard adventure seekers, and honestly anybody who just loves two wheels. And I quote, "To be alive and to be a human is to feel pain and suffering. But when we can find a means to simply let go and exist purely in the here and the now, we can feel some peace of mind. Traditionally, people search for it through various forms of meditation, but for some of us, that kind of clarity comes along only in these precise moments of chaos. I think that's what drives big wave surfers and free solo climbers, and it's what I love about fast motorcycles." And that's just the opening article of their winter edition. I think their writing is impeccable, and well, there's a few stories I have behind it as well. But let's get first into where Vana came from and how they started. Vana came to be in 2014 in Arvada, Colorado. And they weren't always Vana, they actually started as Meta. So a lot of the early magazines, and when I first started the subscription, they were known as Meta. And funny story, as soon as the evil empire of Facebook decided to create Meta and the metaverse, Meta, or Vana at that time, decided to disassociate with that and everything that Facebook has done and went through a name change. I think that's really cool, and hats off to you, Vana, which was formerly Meta, but now Vana, and it's called Vana, but was Meta. When it comes to the price of an issue, for my subscription, I pay $10 for just one, and they give you 4 per year. So you've got a spring, summer, fall, and winter. And honestly, when you look at it compared to the rest of the motocross actions and the other kind of, magazines that you can find at your local Barnes & Noble for $5.99 a month, I think Vana has a lot more to offer than just those. Now, hear me out, because, motocross action, again, has a lot of good news, bike reviews, gear reviews, but it's littered with advertisements and mid-issue catalogs and all these other things that, well, quite honestly, we have the internet for. I think it's cool if you could buy specific issues, like how I bought the one about the Stark Varg, if I ever get it. But other than that, I mean, there's no good reading material in it. You can find most of the information that you really want on YouTube from real users instead of the editors that ride these bikes all the time. But you also want to hear from them too, since they ride these bikes all the time. But I am nowhere close to as good of a rider as they are. So those small intricate changes between this 450 and this 450, or 250 and 250, or street bike and street bike make no difference to me, because I suck no matter what. Which brings me to sort of Vana's whole point of their magazine. It's more for reading. It's more for the adventure seeker. It's more for the person who can't necessarily do these things, but they can read and see the pictures. For example, I'm not necessarily going to Chile to ride for 7 days across their, Chilean mountainsides and beaches and so on and so forth. And sure, it's a bucket list item, but we'll see if I get there. But the cool part about Vana is you can read about it now, and you can experience these things through just normal everyday riders. Most of the time, these aren't even professionals. Of course, they feature the professionals of motocross as well as adventure riding and so on and so forth. But when you start seeing a lot of the people that are just normal Joe Schmoes like me, who are out doing these cool things, and they're not expected to win races, they're not expected to be top of their class or to be champions of this or that, they're just expected to have fun on a motorcycle. And I think that's such a cool value that Vana brings. Not to mention they have the coolest pictures ever. Now, it's not a terribly long magazine, but I do spend probably about the first hour after I get it reading through the whole thing. And quite honestly, some people think as soon as you're done reading the articles, yeah, there's no use to it whatsoever. But in reality, when you look at all these pictures and a lot of the photography areas, it's just cool to immerse yourself in it. And quite honestly, as a motorcyclist, I don't see any better way than spending my long winters inside than reading Vana. Go to Vana.com to get yours today. This wasn't sponsored. Quite honestly, I just love the magazine enough to do this and share the love. And I bet you'll like it too. Remember, keep riding, and I'll keep reading. Done!